Hi, guys. Welcome back. Allison here. Have you started the new year with good intentions to change some things in your life? Have you started with resolutions and then by the time a month goes by, they pretty much fizzle by February? Well, if you have, you're in good company. We've all done that at some point in time. The idea of making resolutions, while good in theory, doesn't always work that way in practice. So, why do we make resolutions? Well, we make them because we want something to change, and usually change for the better in our lives, right? So, we want to get healthier. We want to have more money. We want to improve some of our habits. Maybe we want to stop procrastinating. So, the intentions to make resolutions are good. The problem is in how we do them. And so I'm going to talk to you today about different ways or a different way of approaching the idea of change in the new year or whatever time of year you choose to start it. It doesn't necessarily have to be on January 1st. So, resolutions, no. But setting goals, yes. And so I'm going to give you just a little bit of backstory here first, and then we'll get into the actual process of how we do that. So I made resolutions for a long time in my life. I started making them probably when I was a teenager, and then through my 20s, 30s. And finally, by the time I was around 40, I realized, this isn't working. So I actually came across a really cringe-worthy set of resolutions I made when I was 19 years old and I was still in college. And I made this long list of like 9 resolutions, things that I wanted to work on in the next year. And of course, I doubt I accomplished any of them because they were very grandiose and vague and all that sort of thing. But the point is, we all do that. And I don't regret going through that process because, again, that's how we learn. Like you do something and it doesn't work and you try something else eventually. Of course, I'm apparently a slow learner, so it took me a while to figure that one out about the resolutions. So I think it's a good idea to make goals though for the year. Change is good. Change is what life is all about. So change is good, and it's always good to hope for positive change. And I actually love the new year as a starting point for that because to me, the new year is about renewal. It's about a new chance. Every year, that's like, I always love New Year's Day. Like, New Year's Day has historically been a day that I think about all the positive things that could happen in the coming year. And even when I was, going through hard times and things like that, I still always had hope for the coming year. And I think it's important to have hope. If you've watched my channel at all, you know I'm a big proponent of that. I'm not a person that's a blind optimist at all. In fact, you'll learn that in the course of, more videos, but I am not a blind optimist. I am a realist. I look at the way things actually are, but I also think it's good to have hopes and dreams and plans for the future, no matter what age you are. Doesn't matter if you're, 30 years old or 50 years old or 80 years old. I think it's still important to have hopes for the future. So let's talk about what you do instead of resolutions, okay? Set goals. And by setting goals, I mean find a specific thing that you want to change in your life and then set that goal. Now, don't overload yourself with goals. I actually recommend you never choose more than 3 goals in the coming year. So I usually do 2, sometimes I do 3, but I don't do more than 3. When you start getting beyond that, so it just gets cumbersome. So pick the 3 most important things or the 2 most important things that you want to change in the coming year, that you want to work on. Maybe it's to write a book. Maybe you want to do that. Maybe it's to start a new hobby. I'll give you an example. When I was restarting getting into music about 2.5 years ago, that became one of my goals for that year, was working on learning how to play the guitar and working on my singing and doing that. That became a goal for the year. Okay, so do pick something that you're really interested in, passionate about really think it will improve your life. Okay, so that's the first thing. And then when you choose a goal, what you want to do is come up with action steps. Action steps that help you reach that goal. And the action steps have to be very specific. And you don't want a lot of those. You want maybe 3 or 4 action steps for every goal. You start getting into the weeds too much if you start picking too many action steps. Usually most goals, you can pick 3 or 4 things that are going to help you reach that goal. Now, I'm going to give you an example first of when it's not good. In other words, not a good goal to set. I'm going to give you a bad example first, and then I'm going to give you a good example. So the bad example would be, I'll give you an example of something in my own life here, that I would like to move in the coming year. Okay. Now, if I had, great financial resources and the ability to move anytime I wanted, then that would be something pretty much within my control. In other words, I could go ahead and say, I want to move by September 1st. Okay. But that's not my situation. My situation is I live in low-income senior housing. In order to move to another low-income senior housing, I have to get my name on a waiting list, and then I have to wait for an apartment to come up wherever that is where I choose to move. Well, I have put my name on waiting lists in a couple of places, and basically just waiting for that to happen. Now, why is this not a goal for the coming year? I don't know if I'm going to be at the top of the list and they're going to call me in the next year. It could be in 2024. It may not be this next year. So I don't want to make it a goal because it's possible it won't happen. And why is that? Because it's not totally in my control. And remember, I've talked about things out of our control in another video I've done on my channel. It is very important to not set goals around things that are not in your control. You want to set goals around things that are mostly, if not all, within your control. And the reason is because if it's somebody else that's controlling the situation, well, then it may not happen. And then you're going to get, disappointed at the very least, but maybe upset, depressed, whatever, because you didn't reach your goal. So don't set yourself up for failure that way. Make sure it's a goal within your control. So let me give you an example of one that it is within my control. So I'm going to give you this example. Now, this past year and even the year before that, one of my goals was to lose weight. Now, I didn't set a specific amount of weight because, again, you may not reach that specific thing. So I just basically said, I want to lose weight. And I did. I actually lost about over 50 pounds in about a year or so, year and a half. And of course, now I've slacked off the last 6 months, gained a little bit of it back. So now I have to get back on the wagon in January. But so my goal for the coming year is to lose weight. Okay, so that's the goal. And that is within my control. I'm the only one that basically can control that with what my behaviors are, right? So therefore, barring any unforeseen, like I get struck by a meteor or something like that, hopefully I'll be able to lose weight. Let's not get struck by meteors, please. Okay, so I have the goal, and what would be my action steps? Well, for me, my first action step is give up sugar. Sugar is my main impediment to losing weight. So when I give it up, I can lose weight. So it's very simple. Okay. So lose weight. Second one, walk 5 to 6 times a week. I already really do that, but I might even walk a little further each day in the coming year. As I lose more weight, I'll probably walk even more, maybe not more days, but more distance. So walk 5 to 6 days a week. I already do that one, so that's a great action step. Third action step would be to incorporate yoga or chair yoga in 3 to 4 days a week. That's an action step. I can do that. I have control over that, right? The fourth one would be to minimize dairy products in my life, because I found that when I eat less dairy, it also facilitates weight loss. Okay, so for me, I have those 4 action steps, okay? 4 action steps, and those will help me lose weight. So that's an example of how you set a goal, set specific action steps. All 4 of those things are totally within my control. I control if I want to go out for a walk. I mean, of course, barring, if you get sick or something like that, you can't do it for a while. But I'm just saying, overall, I can do those 4 things for the year. So that is definitely one of my goals for this coming year. I actually have not yet set the other goal. I'm probably going to have 2 goals in 2023. I have not set the other one yet. I will probably let you in on that when I do. But probably I'll come up with that between now and New Year's. So that's an example of what you do. Again, do not do resolutions. Instead, work on goals. And you want to make those goals that are something within your control. Do you have control over that situation that will help you reach that goal? And you want to make it specific, but not so specific that you might not reach it. So for instance, if I had said, I want to lose 50 pounds in 1 year, which would be a little difficult to do. I think it took me about almost a year and a half to lose 50 pounds. So you don't want to do that. What you want to do instead is just say, I want to lose weight. Okay. Or, make it specific, but not so specific that you can't reach it. Okay. So I hope this has helped you today, maybe helped inspire you a little bit to work on maybe a couple of goals, maybe two or 3 goals for the upcoming year. I really encourage you to do it. And I think it's good for, like I said, anyone of any age to work on goals. It really helps us keep moving forward, which is, one of the things that I advocate is you have to always be moving forward in life. So think about that, work on that. Have a happy new year, all of you. And until next time, be well, keep moving forward, work on some goals, and take care. Bye.